Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lyrata Barrett for the Institute for Global Transformation, or IFGT.org, a nonprofit organization dedicated to changing the world spiritually um, on many different fronts, be it health and healing, science, group activity, you name it, looking all forward into the Aquarian age. This is the soul and its instrument. Um, that is what we're discussing in this phase of self-mastery training via ancient wisdom teachings. We began last week the session on the soul and its instrument, lesson 1, and we were halfway through it. And I am in this phase of teaching actually showing and allowing everyone to review the text with me, and then we break it down as we go. Last week I went through the entire text word for word and began the first phase, and this is the second phase. Let us continue so that we can finish this. Each class is no more than about an hour maximum 10, 15 minutes, uh, which may include a meditation at the end, usually does include a meditation at the end. This particular bevy of teachings, the soul and its instrument, is really apropos for this period of time that we're in. It is the aspect of understanding and moving toward soul integration. I would ask that anyone who is interested in this course also look at creative thinking, which was the 40 lesson course we did prior to this one. Kind of sets us up for that. And another course that I love to teach, but outside of the parameters of IFGT.org, the nature of the soul. Those two courses, and also another level course, the initial level course called Path of Initiation, are all aspects of courses that feed into this particular one, the soul and its instrument. The instrument of the soul is its personality, which includes the mental, the emotional, which we also call the astral, and the physical/physical etheric body of each and every human being. Without further delay, let's look at the text for today. Now, last week we had gone through and we were talking about what the demands are. What the soul is responsible for. When we're talking about integrating with the soul, which is what is occurring right now within humanity, the soul of humanity is seeking to seat itself within the collective body of humanity. The oversoul of humanity is seeking to integrate within humanity, something that has not been done ever, okay, until this period of time where we're moving into the Aquarian age. Why? Why now? Because each age develops something different, okay? The last stage, the focus was on developing the emotional body. The previous age was the physical body. And we have done and gone as far as we possibly can. We've developed the emotional body very well. We are now in a place where the mental body of humanity is being developed. Okay? The mental body of humanity is being developed. And with that, a level of soul integration is absolutely necessary. Okay? This is our trajectory as we work on human evolution. Okay? And as I said, the soul of humanity is seeking now to become seated within the overall consciousness of humanity, knowing that we are souls, that we have a function here, a purpose here as souls. So, as I said last week, the soul's focus is not an individual focus. The soul's focus is a group focus. And the soul thinks in terms of we, the wider group. And it looks to train all of those who are seeking and to not only to serve humanity, but understand that that is their purpose in life, is to serve humanity. As a persona, the persona seeks to focus on itself, I. At some time, at some point in our evolutionary growth, that changes. And we are impressed with a deeper, stronger purpose. We realize that we, humanity, is a family, the family of man. And fraternity fraternity is the way we really live as the family of man. It's no longer simply about I or that which is only mine, but we look out and we see each other as brothers and sisters. And we want to work on behalf of that brotherhood and sisterhood because we understand that we are one. It is the one that flows through the many, that divine one that flows through the many. And the many are a one reflecting the oneness of the divine that is in all things. So, soul then is a group focus. The domain of the soul is a group focus. It is not a persona focus. And how does that work out? Well, we see within the group many groups. We see, and we'll break that down. Let's break that down as we go through this text. Okay? Now, I'd gone through this, I'll go through it very quickly. For the sake of those who, I'm starting on the second paragraph, for the sake of those who may still be on the borderline between searching and realization, I shall here define the immediate goal of such groups in a twofold manner, as being one, the group responsibility to the world group and humanity. So these, us as a group seeking to become soul focused, really find that we are a part of several groups. We are part of the group of world servers, that collective of those in incarnation and out of incarnation who know, register, obviously, and realize that we are servants of the divine, number one, and we are here to serve humanity in some function, some way that includes some aspects of our personal gifts or talents and is in alignment with our soul's call. And we're also, at the same time, a part of humanity. We realize that our purpose is service. For this purpose, we have been conceived and born. And for this purpose, we continue to grow. This inner group of world servers realizes that it is not alone in its endeavor to serve humanity, but that it is really a portion of a larger group whose experience and consciousness is such that it is actively engaged in service to the race. So behind this new group of world servers, we answer to what is known as the hierarchy, those guides and teachers of the race. Okay? You could call them masters, really, in a way. They are those that have been in form, they have lived within human bodies, have gone through the five initiations, and are no longer have to return to the wheel of rebirth. Okay, they can serve on the inner levels and only take form if, in fact, it is a responsibility, a duty, a mission that they take form for a particular cause. And when they do that, it's only for a short period of time. Okay? And the term is called, they take on a Maya Varupa. They take on a physical form. They assume a physical identity for a short period of time, do the work that they're responsible to do, and then they step out. Maya Varupa. The small group actually, and the small group is the new group of, or the group of world servers, actually in a state of infancy, recognize its responsibility first to the larger group of which it is a part. Let's say these are those who are aspirants or probationers seeking to become a part of the new group of world servers, okay? Like those of you who are interested in this course, okay? The small group recognizes its responsibility first to the larger group of which it is a part, that is the group of world servers, and then it recognizes our duty and responsibility to humanity. It endeavors to align itself with the world group, and this is done through meditation, and its teachers, that larger group or that group that stands behind the new group of world servers, also known as the hierarchy, okay, and conforms to the higher ideals as represented by the Christ, who is, as I said last month, the world savior. He was the world savior in the Piscean age, where he disseminated the idea of his teachings through Christianity. Obviously, those teachings were hijacked, um, creating dogma and theory and behaviors, conquests, murdering for the sake of Christianity. Um, Obviously, the lesson wasn't learned properly, so he is again the world savior for the Aquarian age in order to get the teachings right, disseminate them properly, get them right this time. Okay? And we are really responsible for that transmission in this leg of the Aquarian age, as well as the incoming New World religion that is happening now, which I believe is really simply spirituality in essence. Okay? So the small group, actually in a state of infancy, then recognizes its responsibility first to the larger group, new group of world servers, and then to humanity, endeavors to align itself with the world group and its teachers, conforms to the higher ideals as represented by the world savior, and slowly expands the periphery of its consciousness to include the world group. It then becomes a channel for the energies pouring down from the soul to a needy humanity. So when these alignments are all in accord, in order, the energies, it becomes a funnel through which the soul can take up residence within humanity. During this same period of expansion, the group as a group is confronted with several different kinds of choices. Its type and method of service activity, its membership size, its methods of procedure. It must learn to differentiate between that which is important and that which is not, as well as how it is best adapted to serve. So there are logistical things too that are happening as all of this begins to So all of this is really happening, okay? We must learn to differentiate between that which is important and that which is not. Discernment, the ability to use our awareness to discern. And we are learning that in a way that we have, in new ways with AI, fake news, and I could go on. You know what I'm saying. We are having to discern between truth, fallacy, important, not important, so that we keep our eye on the true ball. We keep our eye on what's really important and not allow ourselves to be distracted and our focus stolen, in essence, or giving our focus over to things that are not important. The alarmists, breaking news every 3 minutes, practically, you know. Um, And we're confronted with several different types of choices. Its type and method of service activity, its membership size, its methods of procedure. So all of these are logistical things that we're working on and that are happening as we speak. There's not so much that we have to work on it. We hold it in our consciousness and it begins to take shape. And as it begins to take shape, that's when we begin to realize what's really important and what is not important that we need to focus on. Okay. Um, what's truth from fallacy? Um, Thus, the group passes initiation and becomes an integral part of the world group of servers. Number two, individual responsibility to the group. This is the stage in which I now find most of you. You are just beginning to recognize your responsibility to your group, which is the development of the instrument to its highest point of efficiency and integration with the other members of the group. Remember, the purpose of the group is not your attainment. Very important statement. The group was not created to serve you as an individual. Its service is to humanity as a whole. And your growth is your own responsibility to the group. Think on this. So that puts a lot of weight on us. If we are coming into a group thinking that and asking them to do me, thinking that, they're going to be able to focus on us and help us through, it's not that kind of party. This group is a group that understands that period of time where the focus was on self has passed. Yes, we focus on ourselves, we focus on our growth, we focus on our maturation, we focus on our spiritual growth, but that's what we do. It's our job, okay? It's not the group's job. The group of world servers is focused outward to the needs of humanity right now in this time and space? And is there not a crying out for many different levels of need right now? And what are we doing as a group in service to humanity? So the purpose of the group is not one's personal attainment. It was not created to serve the persona. Its service is to humanity as a whole, and your growth is your own responsibility to the group. Yes, you're responsible for growing. If we each don't do our part in reference to our growth, we hold the group back. Think on this, it is important. Most of you are now ready to receive technical instructions that will enable you, as a group, to enter into more definite service activities. You are aspirants and probationers on the path of discipleship leading to initiation. We understand why we're here, what we're here for. We never lose sight of the goal. Others of you may not as yet have entered into outer group activity. And there will be people who are of interest, who are interested in this teaching that that may still be more focused on their persona needs. And that's okay, because something in you is impulsing you to something more. Okay? Which is why you have an interest in learning about this. So maybe you're about to cross the bridgeway into the new group of world servers. Others of you may not as yet entered into outer group activity. In that case, you are studying and working alone insofar as physical plane awareness is concerned, and in some way yours is a more difficult task than the others. There are solitaires out there, many solitaires, people who are working alone. But at some point in time, they will be called to serve the larger and wider group of humanity. If this be the case, rather, take time now to realize that you are a member of the world group of disciples. Disciples means one who works. Disciple is an aspect, I think it's a Greek word meaning to work. The one who works on this work or focuses on this work. If only as a probationer. So the levels you should know by now. Aspirant, probationer, disciple, accepted disciple, initiate. Consider the connotations of this fact and proceed as though you were a member of a group meeting regularly on the physical plane. Consider your responsibility to such a group and rest assured that as soon as you're ready, you will find your co-workers. And this is true. I should here like to insert a bit of advice to all of you. Consider your motives. This is important. This is where we left off last month. If there are any of you who are members of the group for any reason other than those described in the preceding paragraphs, drop out until such time as you can and do accept the teaching as truth, and until such time as you definitely feel a desire to serve. This is definitely for those who are seeking to serve the wider group, this particular course. If you're still searching for your personal self or for the persona, this course requires that you expand that ring past naught within you. Because the world needs all hands on deck. The planet needs all hands on deck. The solar system needs all hands on deck. So if you are here for selfish reasons, it will not work for you. It's not to say that it will not work. What I'm suggesting is not so much that you drop out. I think those words are rather strong. But reevaluate. Reevaluate your inner sense as to why you're here on this planet. Reevaluate that inner call. What are you here to do? Who are you here to serve? And what does service from the level of your soul actually entail? Not service from the aspect of your persona. What does service, your soul's call of service, what is that saying? Those who do not meet with these two requirements will find the second series very difficult, if not impossible, unless the study proceeds as a scientific investigation with the investigator remaining completely detached and impersonal. My brother and sister, your time will come, and with it the joy of recognition. Until such time, go your way in peace and take with you the love and understanding of your brothers and sisters. So this is a very strong request. To the rest of you, I, on behalf of my brother disciples, welcome you into the White Lodge. And the White Lodge is the lodge of Sirius. Also, the place of the guardians of the race of humanity, guardians of the planet itself. Okay? Known as the White Lodge. Together we stand as one, dedicated to the Christ or the Master, the head of the hierarchy, and the work of the Father, the Divine One, the One, life, the Source. In the name of the Master, may you receive the blessings of the Father, and in receiving, share those blessings with all mankind. Peace be with you. As you have no doubt observed, the second series is subtitled The Soul and Its Instrument. I wish to speak of this before continuing with the technical instructions covered in this series. At the end of the first series, students are inevitably confused if asked to explain their identity. Who and what are you? Serves to bring the student into a state of bewilderment. This is good in that it forces an issue at the proper time, and students must sooner or later consider their true identity. They have by this time become aware, at least in part, of their essential duality. They have for a long time been aware of themselves as personalities identified with form. In studying the first series of instructions, the nature of the soul, they have become aware of that which underlies form, the soul or consciousness aspect, and are attempting to identify themselves with that. At the end of this second series, Soul and Its Instrument, they will have shifted their polarization and realized that they are the soul, independent of the form, though utilizing it as an instrument of contact with this, the physical plane. Let us presume, for the purpose of this series, that we are souls, my brothers and sisters. We are not personalities aspiring to the soul, but rather we are souls aspiring to the Christ, Savior of the age, and attempting to control the personality. And remember, Christ is an office. We're not talking about Yeshua when this term, the Christ, is used. That's why they call it the Christ. It's an office, it's a title, it's okay. In order to better do this, let us clarify what is meant by the term personality so we get a new definition of what we consider personality to be, or what we know personality to be. The personality is a reflection of all past experience into which the soul has entered while incarnate in form. So the personality, as it says here, in other words, the aggregate of individual experience is reflected into a more or less integrated form, that form constituting the personality. So all the incarnations one has had prior to, up to this one, and usually this is that there's an aggregate of them, many times five of past incarnations are showing up in this that we call our personality. And those personalities cycle around at different times. That's why one time at some point in time, you'll feel like you're a meanie. You're really mean. Another time, you might feel like the thief comes up. Another time, you are the saint, the spiritual person who knows that they're the soul is right there. Another time, um, someone with a daddy complex might come. Just as examples, okay? Um, and they cycle around. And you might think that you are completely through having to deal with a certain aspect of yourself that seems to sometimes be more prominent than others. You might think you've done the work, and then all of a sudden it shows up again. Okay. So the personality is a reflection of all past experience into which the soul has entered while incarnate in form. In other words, the aggregate of individual experience is reflected into a more or less integrated form, that form constituting the personality. It is a conditional state of existence into which the soul projects a part of its consciousness for the purpose of further experience. It is not a state of consciousness as is supposed. Therefore, the term personality consciousness is in a sense a misnomer. What is actually meant is that the projected consciousness has identified itself with the personality rather than the soul, and has then recognized and accepted the limitations of the personality as its own. That's a big statement there, a very big statement. The projected consciousness has identified itself with the personality rather than with the soul, and has then recognized and accepted the limitations of the personality as its own. The projected consciousness is the creative aspect of the soul. Its many successive lives in form finally bring it to an understanding of the law of cause and effect, or karma. Once it is no longer identified with the personality, its incarnations become acts of service to the race. By this time, it has developed its own nature, its inherent characteristics, and its own quality. I stated previously that this series of instructions is designed to shift the polarization of the student out of the instrument into the soul. This is done through a process of identification and the exertion of a positive control over the form nature. This, of course, necessitates discipline. Absolutely. Discipline, identification. What are we identified with? Getting clear. And that's something, it's like passing ourselves through a sieve over and over and over again until we let go of things that we no longer really are. And we have within that sifting bowl beneath, finally, that which we really are. Okay? And it takes awareness, it takes discipline, it takes application. Okay? Identification, discipline, application. These are the three things that we really need to be honing our focus on right now. In addition to the fact, are we ready for the task? Are we ready to take on the task of assisting humanity? I stated previously that this series of instructions is designed to shift the polarization of the student out of the instrument, the vehicle, this instrument that we are in, okay, this body, into the soul. So we're moving out of the persona into the soul. We're allowing, and through this process, the soul will take on more and more space within our being. The soul will become more in control of the personality. This is an aspect of integration that we're talking about. It's a slow process, many different phases, and we'll go through them. But I am going to ask everybody who finds themselves interested in this teaching and who is taking the time to listen to this teaching in their own time, to begin to think about stepping up and stepping into this actual classroom. Because this teaching necessitates a group focus. And the benefits of the teaching only manifest through group interaction. The idea of one impacting your thought form and the idea of others, or your thought form impacting the ideas of others or the consciousness of others, is what really makes the dynamic of this teaching work. And all you have to do is register on the IFGT channel or website rather. Register. It's absolutely free, as you know. Takes nothing in terms of finances from you. And I guarantee a very dynamic level of growth through this body of teaching. It's a gift. It's a gift to be given in this way, so openly. At the same time, as it says, this is done through the process of identification and the exertion of positive control over the form nature, which necessitates discipline. At the same time, the student is engaged in the evocation of creative activity. The basic need for all individuals after they have reached a certain stage of development is the need to create. That's the nature of the soul. The soul automatically desires to serve, create in some way. Its impulse to do that once it begins to take control of its personality. The inability to satisfy that need to create is the cause of many of our psychological problems today. The individuals for whom these instructions are written fall into this category. If you've properly analyzed yourselves and have become aware of a great lack within your experience, that lack, when seen from the right perspective, lies within yourselves. You may be able to pin it down to a lack within some part of your equipment, the physical, emotional, and mental. This is because there has been no true alignment of these three and no one pointedness of purpose. The purpose, the desire nature has often been at war with the physical or mental aspects or both. And in most cases, this battle is focused primarily between the desire nature and the mental aspect, with the physical body taking the place of the battleground. If you have properly analyzed yourselves, you become aware of a great lack within your experience. That lack, when seen from right perspective, lies within yourselves. Yes, we all have lacks. We all will realize at some point in time, and we're all constantly realizing what it is that we are in need of, especially when you're looking through the lens of identification, discipline, and the application of what it is you know you need to your life. The desire nature has often been at war with the physical and mental aspects or both. And in most cases, this battle focused primarily between the desire nature and the mental aspect, with the physical body taking the place of the battleground. It shows the effects of this battle in many ways and is often badly scarred as a result. The desired nature must be dominated and controlled by the consciousness, focused in the mental aspect. So, again, we've shifted, ideally, out of the emotional level and shifted because of our ability to do certain levels of meditation, um, to hold our focus within the ajna center, to sit within the cave in our meditation. We are at that level where we can focus our consciousness in the mental aspect. It must be made to aid the consciousness in its creative activity, and this is only possible through self-imposed discipline. So, using our consciousness to aid our creative activity. And consciousness, remember, equals soul. Okay? It also equals the energy of the Christ, or um, hmm, yes, the aspect of Christedness is also the soul. The soul is that magnetic field between positive pole, the Divine Father, negative pole, Divine Mother, or Divine Intelligence. When the positive pole, Divine Father, impresses, or Divine Purpose, impresses creative intelligence, a magnetic field is created. Remember that from creative thinking. And that is consciousness, also the soul, which magnetizes and radiates, okay, that which it needs. So the desire nature must be dominated and controlled by the consciousness or the soul, focused in the mental aspect. It must be made, the desire nature, to aid the consciousness in its creative activity. And this is only possible through self-imposed discipline. What are your habits? And in what aspect are they rooted? Another very important question. When we're just trying to understand who we are, what are we identified with? Um, and in order to be able to know how to discipline ourselves and what things are what applications we need to utilize to address our our maturation, our soul's maturation, our persona's maturation, okay? Our evolution. How do we do that? We have to be able to look at our habits. Any habit is now undesirable because it holds the consciousness a slave to the form nature. Aha. That's a biggie. Whether it's smoking substances, whether it's drinking, whether it's sexual addiction, whether it's watching TV, Netflix, whether it's, I think I have one of those sometimes, um, whether it's being sedentary, okay, whatever our addiction is, okay, any habit is now undesirable because it holds the consciousness a slave to the form nature. Almost any habit is rooted in the desire nature. This is true. Many so-called physical habits are rooted here. The desire nature is compensating for some unfulfilled wish. Even those of us who spend time seeking that Prince Charming, that man, those of us who feel we are not complete unless we have a significant other. That's compensating for some unfulfilled wish. Just so long as this condition remains, full soul consciousness is not possible. I was in Estes Park about a month ago, a little bit more than, yeah, about a month ago. No, 2 months ago now. 2 months ago, when right after a meditation early in the morning, I was told, I got the message, you're going to have to stop doing X. I was not happy about it. I got very my mouth poked out, and I was like, "Oh, come on now! Oh, come on, come on! I really enjoy that. Why do I have to stop that? Why? It's not fair." And I haven't been doing it that long. I wasn't happy about it at all. Knowledge of this poses a test for students. Just so long as this condition remains, full soul consciousness is not possible. Yes. Knowledge of this poses a test for students, does it not? A test of their sincerity, strength, motive. Are you who you say you are? Are you dedicated to that which you say you are? Okay. Are you willing to do anything for your evolutionary and for the evolution of humanity? Not just personal evolution, but for humanity as well. So, I mean, one affects the other because as we are able to let go of our sacred cows, guess what? We imprint that ability into the consciousness of humanity because we share the same field, mental and emotional field. And through osmosis, telepathy, we will pick it up, others will pick it up. So it makes it easy for others to say, ah, yeah, I need to drop that. I'll let it go. Knowledge of this poses a test Okay? I do not order you to discipline yourselves. I merely offer suggestions that point out the way. I do advise you to begin now with a process of identification. The I consciousness is an aspect of the soul. It is not then its physical body, its desired nature, or even its mental aspect. These are temporary and are discarded often for newer and better equipment. It is not necessary, however, to discarnate in order to build better equipment. It can be done while incarnate, and at some time it must be done during this cycle. That is part of the evolutionary process. The aspirant masters the form nature while inhabiting it, and this usually takes many lives. We inhabit, we change the form nature while we are inhabiting it. We don't have to die and reincarnate to change. As students on the path, the aspirant masters the form nature while inhabiting it. That's why we can go through so many evolutionary changes right before the eyes of those loved ones and friends, and they're like, well, what's happening to this person? And I don't even recognize them anymore. They've changed so drastically because we do it right in this lifetime. Inhabiting, and this usually takes many lives, and it takes many lives. Yes, it usually does take many lives. Okay, but we have the gift of being able to do these major changes within an incarnation. In the light of this, my brothers, I suggest that you contemplate identification, discipline, and application. Before proceeding with this series, I shall ask you to quickly review the first series, which is Nature of the Soul. As an assignment, determine for yourselves the discipline indicated by the instructions received and the response both your consciousness and your form nature have made to them. Give this in written form to your teacher before you proceed with further lessons, and keep a copy for yourselves. So, there is a meditation I would like to take you through, but we're already at going into 6:10, 6:15, and it's going to take a while. What I will do is do the meditation separately and have it uploaded as part of this lesson, okay? That you can go through it on your own. Um, and even though you think you're on your own, with the group that is interested in this Soul and its Instrument course, doing it together, and hold the awareness that you are doing it with a group of world servers, a group of people or aspirants who seek to be world servers. Hold that in your awareness, okay? Know that when you do this work, you are no longer doing this work as an individual. You are doing it as part of a group. And hold that group in your meditative consciousness. Okay? Thank you so much. Again, this is Lyrata Barrett, Soul and its Instrument, finishing up just now, lesson 1, on this July 13th, 2025. Have a very good afternoon, and until next month, the third Sunday of the month, 5 p.m., we meet. I look forward to seeing all of you. Take good care. Namaste.